Okay, you're good. You're live.
All right, so we are back. Sorry, we are having some technical difficulty. Okay, Blair, bring that screen back up. So we're celebrating Leanne's birthday today. I wanted to talk about a few things. So I want everyone to look at these words. I want everyone to look at these pictures. Fiercely loyal, friend, mentor, funny, best mom, SYC family, wife, daughter, honest, kind, supportive, and generous, but supportive in good times and bad. So, Leanne, before we move on, I want you to talk a little bit about that middle picture there up on the top. What was that all about?
Oh, that was a long time ago. That was a partnership with BPAA. Bill Blue and Rosie Cruz did a little. It actually was like part of the Burger King kids meal, and
That
they
was
did a
10,
bowling
10 pounds,
promotion.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yep,
that
they
what it
did
was
a
called?
bowling promotion. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a lot of
I
fun.
love I love it. And the first picture was all of many years ago, the Turbo Girls, if I remember correctly. I love the
Mm-hmm.
hairstyles. I mean, you got to admit, come on,
Got
um,
some poof.
right? And then down below in that big picture, I have no idea where we all were, but that's got to be, I don't even, that's got to be the 90s, late 90s, if I'm not mistaken there. Do you know where that picture might have been taken?
I don't know. Maybe that was like, holy cow, there's more pictures. Maybe that
I know. Bring them on up.
was probably at an event somewhere, huh? So,
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't. Who knows? Some great Hall of Famers in there. Leanne, look at that picture right there with that little girl. Now, do you know what that was from?
I do. That was from the Oklahoma bombing benefit that we all did. I worked on it, but every one of you guys came to it, and we raised a lot of money for those 5 surviving children of the Murrah Building Daycare Center.
That is correct. Yeah, very good. And you have a great memory. And we have
Yep.
a lot of great photos on there. The two in the corner, we're grateful for Mike Hillman sending those. I'm going to assume that was Leanne in her early days.
That was Cloverleaf Family Bowl back in the day. Yeah, teenager.
Back in the day when you're
I don't
just
know about
starting.
that one on the right. That was a
And the one,
LPBT.
it is, but on the left was your first year for Bowler of the Year, I believe. That was the picture
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
up there in the corner. But the one in the middle is the one I want to talk about just a little bit. So those are your two besties. We have Kim Kearney and Lauren Takahashi. And oh my God, guess what? They're
What?
here.
Oh,
They're
geez.
here. Where are the girls? Let's bring in the girls. Where are my friends? We're not frozen up, so we're waiting. They are here. I'm telling you, they are here.
It's like a
There they
virtual
are.
surprise party.
It's a little
Hi.
virtual surprise party. And I know everybody is so busy, but they said they would come help me. Uh-oh, Lauren went away. Where did she
Peace
go?
out, Taka.
Where- You know what she said to me while we're waiting to try to get her back? She said, uh-oh, Dell's sticking his head in there. He would say happy birthday to his favorite gal.
Hey, Dell.
Here's Lauren. Okay, so first I invited them in because what did I say you girls were going to do? We're going to sing.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
going
Kim
to
loves to
sing.
sing.
Are you ready? She loves to sing. All right, girls, you ready?
Ready.
Come on now. Blair, you're in there. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
LBH.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
To
LBH.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to Leanne.
to
Happy birthday to you.
you.
Well, girls.
I thought that was funny. So, okay, we're going to start with you, Kim. You're up in the corner. Two things that you said about Leanne. She is absolutely loyal. So I want you to elaborate a little bit on that and tell us something about Leanne that you remember from the road.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Uh-oh, no sound.
You can't hear me. You didn't hear me sing. That's awesome.
There you go. Way to go, Kim.
So the singing was muted as well. That's great. Um, I think the loyal piece just, I think anybody that knows Leanne knows how anything that she stands behind, anything that she believes in wholeheartedly. So if it is the state of women's bowling, the state of youth bowling, building that, she is going to do everything that she possibly can to make sure that it's successful. And it's just really kind of, I mean, I know Lauren could elaborate a little bit with me as well, but just um, she just doesn't give. If she believes in something, it is with all of her being, and it is really it's admirable. It's really moving to watch, and so she's just always been that way.
I think
Something
that's
from the
awesome. And
road.
yeah, you got to
Take,
think of something from the road.
I can think of something from the road. There's. Hey Annie, help me. Give
I'm
me a.
throwing one in there. Stockings on the head. Stockings on the head.
Oh, that's your stuff. That's you guys. Gosh,
Well, while you're
we lost.
thinking,
Yeah, let me think. Go, Taka.
go to Lauren. Okay, Lauren,
Yes.
so you told me a little tidbit. You guys have bowled together for years, as well as um, there's food involved and there's the show Friends. So you got to tell us a little bit about that.
Always food. There's always food when I'm around Leanne and Kim and Sandy. Can always count on a good meal. Our entire day is built around what we're eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We always have
Because of you.
our favorite places. We had Carrabba's for a while. We have Panera, and a lot of places by where I live too. We had some really good places. And then Leanne and I share a love of the Friends show, and we were lucky to go and see a taping of the Monica and Chandler wedding, and that was I'll never forget that. It was a really, really fun day and evening. We had a good time, huh, Boom?
Oh my
Yes,
God,
thank you,
that's
Taka.
awesome. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love that. And how long have you guys all bowled together for like nationals?
Uh, Leanne, you were kind of a not a late addition, but you weren't on
I was.
our kind of the beginning of that team. Taka, you know?
Yeah, we got lucky. I remember, I think it was in Iowa when
Yeah.
something happened, and that's when we grabbed her. We're like, we'll take Leanne. Yeah,
Picked up the stray.
she's all right.
Yeah,
We'll grab
maybe your Oklahoma people stopped coming or something, and
Mhm.
yeah, that might be it.
That's
Yep.
pretty awesome.
It's hard to, God, it's difficult to. Uh, I just thought of one, but probably not a good memory either. I enjoyed our US Open in Laughlin. That's a
Oh,
good
gee.
story in some ways. In some ways, that's a good story. Not in all ways, but in some ways, that's a good. Taka
Now
was
it's a
there for
good
that
story.
too. Now it's a good story, but gosh, there's so many years of us just jumping in the expedition and going from stop to stop and figuring all of this out. And we didn't room together the whole entire time. It was probably just maybe the last 5 or 6 years that
Hmm.
we were on tour.
Yep.
And we didn't even room together. We just traveled together. At that
Yep.
point, we had, we were so set in our ways. We had figured that I'm, let's just get to the place and I'll have my own room and you have your own room. And we were as happy as we could be saying good night and good morning
And
because we
that's how
couldn't be more
everybody
different.
survives and remains friends, that's for sure. Um,
Yeah.
well, I have a couple of stories that we're going to talk about towards the end of the show. But ladies, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and I appreciate all your insight. It's always good to see the both of you anyway. But I just wanted her to have a little surprise. I know her birthday was yesterday, but I don't care. So, but
Aw. Hey,
I
can I tell you where that picture's from that you guys were talking about? I
yeah.
was That is from, I think it was, we were in Pittsburgh and I think it was when Alita, um
Oh, the million
she got the
dollars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that's from.
I think that's when she broke the
It's
million
Princess
dollar mark,
Lanes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Man, good memories,
Anyway,
girls.
sorry.
We were good at
Great
Well,
memories.
celebrating.
we
Yes,
liked each other.
absolutely.
We did. Those were some
Well,
fun
thank you,
times.
ladies. It was so great to see you. And I
All right.
appreciated giving us a few insights into Leanne.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having us
friends.
on and thinking of us, Carolyn. Happy
You
birthday,
Always
bet.
Boom.
really kind. Thank you,
Happy
girls.
birthday,
Love you.
Boom.
Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Taka. Love you.
I
Bye.
I
That was a
thought that
nice
would
surprise.
I thought that would make your day. Um,
Thank you.
okay, so don't worry, we're not done talking about stories, but we do have our main guest waiting in the area. Um,
Sorry,
Terry
Terry.
Taylor. Thank you for waiting. He is the North Texas USBC manager for our area, which is a huge area. If anybody knows how big DFW is, it's huge. And this guy, not by himself, and he won't say it's by himself because he has a wonderful partner in crime in his wife, Tina, and a fantastic board that works so well together to build one of the best associations that I personally feel it is in the United States. Let's bring in Terry. Hey, Terry, thanks for hanging out. Another one with no noise. What's happening to us tonight?
Yeah.
All right,
There
you're
he
not
is.
muted anymore. How are you,
No,
Terry?
I'm good. I'm not muted. Oh, she had me muted. Oh, I gotcha. I said this was good to see Kim. I haven't seen Kim in a long time, so
Yeah,
that was great.
I wanted to give Leanne a little surprise, even though her birthday was yesterday. I wanted to give her a little surprise, and I know how important her friends are to her. So we
Well, of course.
appreciate you waiting for us. Um, Terry, one of the things that Leanne and I have chatted about numerous times when we have been talking about how to grow bowling and what do we need, and it always comes back to grassroots effort. So I want you to talk just a little bit about, what does an association manager do? Because I got to tell you, I'm not so sure everybody knows.
Well, the
And
association. Well, you want me to answer that
go ahead.
question? You want to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go do that
The
first. Yeah.
association, yeah, the association manager basically builds the leagues for the whole association. So we have 230 leagues in the fall, and so we make sure they have the correct paperwork, make sure that the bowlers are taken care of, and we just provide service with the connection with USBC. So there's a whole lot to do, but if you're organized and do it the right way, it's pretty easy.
When did you start that position?
I actually started in 2017. We were kind of finagling with a franchise association in Fort Worth. USBC had an idea for a franchise association, and it worked great because it kept the board really slow. And so in 2017, our association manager accepted another job somewhere else, and they said, "Terry, you're not doing nothing. Jump in," because I just had retired from BPA at that point. So after 14 years of BPA, and
Oh
so
my
that's how I
gosh.
got in there. They just kind of fit me in there. I was still running tournaments and everything else, and they just said, "Terry, you're perfect. Just jump in and do it." So that's how I got there.
Well, I know Leanne could probably answer this question first and then roll it over to Terry, but um, your partnership with Platinum Ford, which we're going to talk a little bit about, how did that come to be to build that relationship with the association, which then transpires over into the bowlers? And then again, you joined up with Leanne and the SYC, and we will see that in November when they're in where they're at City View Lanes. That Platinum
Right.
sponsors, one of the largest partners with Storm. So how did it work on both ends?
Well, in the very beginning, Adam with the dealership, he's a bowler, so he happened to bowl one of our events, and he just said, "I really need to get into bowling. How do I get there?" And he was just asking everybody, and everybody kept pointing their finger at me. Just go ask that guy. Go ask that guy. So next day, my phone rings at the office, and of course it's Adam, and he said, "Terry, I need to pick your brain for 5 minutes. What can we do that's different?" And I just said, to get involved. And I just said, you can do the normal free oil change, free detail, all that kind of stuff. And I said, you ever think about giving away a free ball? And so Adam's like, can we do that? And I said, I'm sure. I said, if you send me a check for about 10 grand, I'll get you a couple hundred bowling balls. I didn't think he was serious. I didn't know he would send me a check or anything. Next day, I get a courier that I have a $10,000 check in my hand, and I'm calling Storm in a panic. Hey, what do you have on your warehouse floor you need to get rid of? So, and of course, COVID hit like in 2 months after that. So when COVID hit, we didn't think the program was going to work very well. But what was everybody doing during COVID? They're buying new cars and they're going out and getting bowling balls, and that's how it took off. I mean, he was selling 2 cars for every 4 people that came out and got a bowling ball at one point.
Oh my God.
So I mean, he
Now,
was,
Leanne,
yeah,
Leanne, when you and Terry spoke, they hopped right on board with SYC, but I want you to talk a little bit about how does the SYC work with the community when they come into a city?
Well, we always try to work with like the local tourism because they can help so much with like hotels and stuff. And then we also, if we're lucky enough to know the association people, which usually the bowling center or some contact, but the Texas one was super easy because we already worked with them, and so just having them, I mean, it was like I didn't really even ask for it. They just were like, "How can we help?" and everything. And then Adam and Terry both, and now it's SYC Texas presented by Platinum Ford. So
I can't believe that it hasn't. Well, I shouldn't say I can't believe it hasn't spread even more, nationwide. But I know in speaking with, Adam in the past, he likes to keep it in his area just because it's easy to deal with the people. People can come and go. But Terry, I want you to elaborate a little bit on how important that relationship is from community to association, and what advice would you give, let's say another local association or city association who may be having a hard time getting people on board to help with their events?
So what we did was when we made the merger, we just merged into North Texas. It was Greater Dallas and Greater Fort Worth. And when we came together, the idea was to strip everything. Really pay attention to what Dallas did really well and pay attention to what Fort Worth did really well, and get rid of everything else. Everything was kind of old school, kind of this is the way it's always been done. This is how we weren't going to keep going the same direction. So you have to make those changes to get the community involved. So what you do with USBC, because USBC takes such a bashing online with Facebook and everything else, is you got to take yourself out. It's kind of the out of mind, out of sight, out of sight, out of mind kind of thinking, to where you let people just enjoy themselves. Don't go in acting like you rule the league when you go into a league. Don't act like you own the bowling center. The bowling center is there for you. So you can't tell the bowling center what to do in those times when you're trying to run tournaments. In those times when you're running special events, you cater to the bowling center. Give them the open play lanes back. Give them all the necessary time they need. And what happens is that the bowling center's on your side because you're catering to the bowling center, right? And then you got your tournament bowlers. So the tournament bowlers normally take care of themselves. As long as nothing goes wrong, you never get bashed or anything on social media. And when you stand up for something like re-rating people or something like that, they've all got your back. So it's really hard to trash us, but everybody likes to trash USBC. But if you notice in some of these posts that USBC are posting, you'll see some of our bowlers in there talking about how great our association is. They're committed. They like it. There's nothing going wrong. It's hard to get people to our membership meeting because there's nothing wrong, right? They only want to come when there's something wrong. And so that's funny to me because you would think more people would want to be involved, and it's just not that way.
Well, I just, community is just so important to the grassroots effort of growing anything, whether it's a sport, a school, any program for the community, it's always the grassroots up. A lot of people think it always starts from the top down, and it really doesn't. It really does come from forging those relationships that kind of then grow into something bigger.
And
And
see, and what you're talking about in grassroots there, that has to start with the bowling center. The
mhm,
association can only carry it so far, right? So in our
mhm,
association, we have 14,000 members, and only 1,000 of them are youth bowlers. And that's a sad thing for Dallas Fort Worth, right? Well, a lot of our centers don't open till mid afternoon. They don't promote outside their own four walls, right? So you
mhm.
see open play postings on Facebook all the time or on X or whatever, but you never see, hey, come join a league. Now, the come join a league part are from the outskirts of Dallas Fort Worth, the smaller centers, because they're always promoting their leagues. But big season leagues, our big
Mhm.
centers just don't see it, and half of our big centers are half empty because they just don't promote us. They don't market outside their own four walls.
Right. Now, Leanne, you came from a phenomenal youth program, Northern California, that's still
Hmm.
going strong. Cloverleaf, we talked about that earlier.
Mhm.
What do you think was the key to the growth of the youth bowling in California at that time?
Well, they got, like Terry said, they got out of their four walls. They went to schools and they gave out free game passes and they hosted parties. And I mean, you have to go get customers. You can't just sit there and wait for them to come in your center, but um, it's so many people don't even make an effort and they, just think that. But um, we had really fun programs, and I think we just grew it just by word of mouth because our programs were really, interactive when we were a kid. We had so many fun tournaments to keep everyone entertained. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it really is all about marketing, all about advertising. We have Linda Barnes in the chat, of course, another California bowler, right? And she says, NorCal, let's go. But okay, so Terry, let's make it simple. If someone were thinking about what was going on, how do I get bowling centers involved with me? Or even reverse that, how do I get the bowling center to get involved in maybe having an after school program or like Leanne said, free game passes? Um, what would be my first, what should I do?
You could always call and ask the local association. The main thing is you just don't know the relationships between the association and, of course, those bowling centers. Depends on who you have in there. But if you don't have a real good following, or if you don't have, say, for instance, someone from a business that wants to come in and run something, you talk directly to your bowling center, and if your association is good, they'll direct you directly to the association for help. So I get that all the time. People trying to create new stuff, whether or not it works out, I'll give them 100%, honesty,
Mhm.
whether it work or not. How do you market that to the public? Um, it's just really funny that these bowling centers have lost that, and they've really lost it for. I see. I started in. I call it. We talk about the '90s, how good bowling was in the '90s, and I think from '95 to 2010, the proprietors just totally missed the mark. Um, and I was in, working with BPA at the time, and it was the push wasn't. It was always youth bowling, but it wasn't a heavy push like it was in the '90s. I think a lot of the proprietors started aging out a lot, getting older. They were happy with the money they were making. They weren't looking at the future like we are always looking at the future. Um, your local associations are always looking at the future. The bowling brands are always looking at the future because that's their customers. And the bowling centers should be doing the same thing. It's just they're not doing that right now. I mean, I say they're not. A lot of them do, but the majority of them they're hurting. They're just trying to pay the bills.
Right. I don't know. There were so many, I guess, and during our time, of course, those are the things I remember. Like Leanne, you were just talking about the Pin Pals program that you were involved with. When we bowled on tour, you did the program up in NorCal. uh, Boomer's Buddies. You had, so again, what I saw as successful, and Leanne could, correct me, obviously, but was you actually had a lot of pro bowlers and name bowlers in California giving back to those programs. In other words, Leanne was bowling on tour. She's one of the best women bowlers on tour. And she's coming home and going, "Hey, I have a great idea how to get kids involved." Do you agree with that? Do you think that was one of the strong points, Leanne, of what happened in your area?
I think back in the day, things are different now. Back in the day, like Linda mentioned in the chat, we had dedicated youth directors at each bowling center. Like they were full time employees. Her mom worked with the youth direct, in her bowling center, and we had a fabulous association, NorCal, but the youth directors were not volunteers. They were like paid employees. So they like worked it and stuff. And nowadays it's like part-time employees and it's different. And I think if you have a dedicated person to get out there and talk to the schools and talk, I mean, like you, it's not a dumb question. Like when you say, where can I find kids? I mean,
Right.
we all know that kids are in school. So I mean, like, and what school doesn't want to provide a potentially a free program, at some point to get them
Right.
in there. And then you have a captive audience and you need to do something with it. But times have just changed a little bit. And most bowling centers, not all of them, but most of them have part time youth directors. So
You know,
that's the
what you guys are
difference.
saying. It's kind of like the
That's a
marketing
good
piece of it.
point.
The marketing piece of it, you still have, when you pull up into the school, you see signs out for youth baseball, football, everything, anything from tennis, everything, but you don't have bowling signs. Join your youth
Well,
league
that's a good
today,
point.
and the bowling center's 2 blocks down the road. I mean, that really costs nothing. The association, which is part of our marketing piece in the next year or so, will be going to schools and putting the signs out in front of schools that are close to our centers, trying to get bowlers to go. I mean, it's kind of like the marketing piece too of our digital boards. I mean, you guys know that we have digital boards. I know you two have seen them. We have 3 throughout the Metroplex, and just through the month of August, 780,000 people a week will see those digital menu boards. Because last show you guys talked about
Right.
bowling awareness. That's exactly what we want. We just want bowling awareness. Get those bowlers in the center, and the bowling center is supposed to take over at that point. And when you do that, and you drive people to
That's
that bowling
true.
center, what are they doing? And don't get me wrong, we run a lot of tournaments. I run the Southwest tournament up in Wichita, Kansas as well, and I watch that bowling center. I watch how they treat people that walk in that door. Um, when the DeSocios had it, you got a rain check. They wanted you to come back, or now they just wanted to send you down the street to the other bowling center, and I'm like, well, no, you want them to come back here. Um,
Right.
I mean, it was really ran really well, but the marketing piece was just really good. They had a special group up there working their center before everybody else took over. So
Well, that's one of the things, though, even with saying with Leanne, with times changing, there's a lot of people who the family owned or oriented bowling center is kind of gone out to pasture. You don't have as many anymore, and you also had 2 generations pass where by the time they hit the 3rd generation, maybe the kids didn't want the bowling center anymore, so they looked to sell it or pass it off to somebody else. Um,
right,
because I do think there is a difference in that, uh, it's one is corporate, one is family oriented. Of course it has to be a little bit different. You're also looking at different things, right? You have different
right.
marks as to what's successful or not. So I love the idea, though, about the boards, the signs outside of the school. I never really, oh my God, for as many years as I'm going through, schools, I never even thought about that there isn't a bowling sign on there. You're correct.
Absolutely. So, and that's an easy. Those things don't cost anything, right? The
Right,
associations can
right.
pay. If we have families that want to get involved and want to do that, and promote bowling, or maybe even our youth bowlers of the year, they're out there putting signs in. you know, carrying the weight a little bit. So
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean that's a great insight as to how people can get involved. It really does always come back down to, that proprietor relationship because we need the proprietors to be able to enjoy the sport, right?
right.
Um, so I don't know. I have one question I'm going to leave you with, and then Leanne, if you have anything to add. So I don't know, Terry, is it a sport or a game?
I've always treated it as a sport, you know that. So I believe it's a sport when it's. Let me give you a couple of quick numbers. So we have 14,000 league bowlers, right? 57 of them are average over 230. Now think about that. Out of 14,000 bowlers, that's where the game involves, right? So
Right.
220 and over average bowlers, we have 257, counting those 57 bowlers. And then from 220 on down to 180, or I'm sorry, yeah, to 180, it's 3,000 bowlers. And then 10,000 bowlers is 179 and below. So where's our majority? Where do you
Right.
have to home in? Is it a sport or a game to them,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's a game to the 300 people that are 220 and above, or a sport with 220 and
Right.
above, and and those that are getting better, it's a sport. But the majority is really on the south side. That's where the business is. That's where the growth is. That's where the training comes in. That's where you know the parents are that have all the kids. I mean, there's 100 different things that you can do to market that, and whether or not the associations step up to do that. You hear it's all about funding. It's how they can raise money, but there's so many different ways to raise money. I could tell you guys 100 stories, but we
Right.
won't do that tonight. So
Well, Terry, I totally appreciate you coming on. Leanne, do you have any questions?
I just want to touch on the BBL because Terry has a
Ah,
great um, program that he does BBL, and I think he deserves to brag about it. So let's, and I work a little bit with him on that from Storm. So I just want to have him share that because it's really impressive, and I love the BBL.
So what took place was in the Greater Dallas Association, the Greater Dallas actually had this program, and it's how they raised money. That's how they were always first or second, raising money each year, or uh, once everybody started passing them up, they weren't really first, second, but they were always depositing, donating almost $20,000 or so. And so when we merged the association, we're going to do that. And what it is basically, it's just an in league tournament. We offer it to all the leagues. It's in their league packets when they get it. Um, we incentivize the league secretaries to do it. It helps with their League Secretary of the Year award program.
nice.
And so, uh, absolutely, they want to do it. And all we do is ask for a dollar from each bowler in the league. The league gets put into a tournament during Veterans Week. We run that, so we'll collect $40,000 extra for BVL, but we'll pay back 8,000 of it into a prize fund. So BVL will actually get about $32,000 of it, and then come on board with Storm. Storm on the same side. When we partner with Storm, they give us balls to give out to every highest league secretary in each center. And so each league secretary in each center gets a ball of choice. They can even raffle it off for BVL if they want, and or they can drill it for themselves. It's their choice, but most of the time
Hmm.
they raffle it back off. And then of course everybody gets super excited. And last year we led BVL by $1,000. This year there's some things going on that I can't really discuss online, but we donated 36,000 this year. So if Jamie
Nice.
Brooks steps up and donates his 10,000 again, we'll definitely be in first place again. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I
yeah,
love it. That's excellent. And again, there you go. Not every idea has to be super new, right?
no, we actually have a company down in Corsicana also that it sounded like they're going to send us a bunch of money for BVL. So it happened through their bowling center down in Corsicana, and so the league secretaries down there just said, "Hey, our company wants to donate," and so there's no telling what that's going to be, and who knows from that point.
And wouldn't you love if associations all across the country copied you?
Yeah.
Well, The tournament's really simple and easy. I mean, our flyers, you can't really find it on our web page easily. It's in the league secretary resources because it's only for the league secretaries, right? So, um, but it's there, and you can look at it. The rules are in it too, and and it's it's a mass project because we have 8,000 bowlers that enter it, and so not only ask for the highest scores out of each league because that's all you're really looking for anyway. So it is time consuming. It's a little bit of work, but it's worth doing in the long run.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great
I love
job.
it. Yeah, excellent job. And I hope everybody, I agree with Leanne, I hope everybody in the country copies you or tries to copy you in their way because
Well,
BVL could use some more money.
what we need to do is we need to get smaller as associations. As in not so many associations. And it's kind of like the bowling centers. When the bowling centers started closing, bowling started booming again. Why did it start booming again? It's because we got smaller, more people were at the open centers, right? Which made it
Mm,
look huge. And everybody
right,
wanted to bowl and wanted to be with everybody. We're not all spread out anymore. Well, it's the same.
right,
And I said for years, I said bowling will boom again. It's just we got to get smaller first. It's like the associations. We got to start merging these smaller associations that don't have fundings and stuff like that, so their product can boom also. And
right.
it's happening. It's going to take a slow time to get there. I mean, I think L.A., North and South L.A. had merged together. Minneapolis merged together, and I think Tampa's talking about it with their three associations too. So
Oh, wow.
um, a lot of good things come from that when you merge your associations. I mean, like this year alone, to our charities we gave $56,000, and that doesn't
Wow.
happen if we don't merge. And so, in
Right.
all our tournaments are sold out. So there's really good stuff to that.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Well, yeah, totally proud to be part of the association. Just keep doing great things. I mean, we can't thank you enough and your team, your wonderful wife, Tina, and the entire North Texas board, which works so well together and with the community and with the bowlers. So you've done a phenomenal job. Actually, it kind of proves like it can be done, right? So
It,
if
it,
there's just different ways of getting there.
it really can be done. It's just kind of out with the old and get somebody in there new kind of a thing. I mean,
Right.
I did piss off a lot of people on the way to get here, but a lot a lot of good people lost their seats to bring a board together to where most of these big associations they have 30, 40 people on their board, delegates and everything else. Well, we're
Mhm.
just a small group of 12 that's over 14,000 bowlers, and it's business decisions can be made. Doing banking correct way is correct because there's not so many opinions in the room, and running
Right.
tournaments, of course, is the easiest thing for us.
Right. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Terry, for coming out tonight. We appreciate you talking about this subject because we're going to continue with League Week next week as we're talking about it. But um, again, it can be done. And if they have any questions, I'm going to tell them all to call Terry Taylor.
Yeah, no problem. You always do anyway, so it's no different.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it. And we appreciate the board.
All right, talk to you
All
later.
right. You
Thanks,
bet.
All right,
Terry.
bye.
So,
He does a great
Leanne,
job.
oh my God. So, the same thing we talked about, how do we keep league bowling and how do you inspire people to want to bowl more than one league and what's the big thing between string pins and traditional and all this other stuff. But if you work with your association at all levels and you meet that one person who just loves bowling, it changes everything.
Agreed.
And
I
and
think
it's crazy.
I think that the BPAA at Bowl Expo and at the USBC convention should use people like Terry. I've always thought I have a different opinion. They bring in speakers from outside the bowling industry to talk about different subjects, which is always kind of
Mhm.
fun because you learn something. But I have always thought that at the convention and at Bowl Expo, they should take the people who have done really well in bowling for whatever topic and have them share their story. Like, How do you really get all the corporate parties to come to your bowling center? How do you get the
Right,
kids to come from the schools? How do you do that? I have a lot of friends, and I'm like, do they should just ask you to come and share how you do it.
right.
Like, going back to the youth bowling and the schools, my friends in California, they have a report card thing. If for every A you get on your report card, you get a free game.
Oh my God.
So
So
simple.
simple.
So simple. I
I
mean,
know.
just things like that. But I think they should take the success stories that are happening in bowling, because there are some, and talk to the people who may not have heard those ideas. Terry could share his success with all the other associations. He could be like the association guru.
Exactly. And you know what? I want to hear the success stories because I'm tired of hearing all the negativity.
And it's
So,
okay to copy people. If they're
sure,
having success, it's like, what is
absolutely.
that? Imitation is a form of flattery. Like, we
Flattery,
want you
a
to
hundred,
succeed. So,
a
you know,
100%. Um, so I love that idea, and we will continue that conversation next week as we're talking about league bowling and pro shop, and we're going to have Carol Norman on next week. I think is going to be our guest. Correct?
mm,
So we're going to talk
she
about a
better.
lot of different things: Hall of
She better.
Fame, pro shop, league bowling, clinics. Um, oh my God, we have a whole bunch of stuff. But before we leave, I said I was going to talk about a couple stories, and I have to leave everybody on a funny note.
Oh dear.
So, well, okay, we won't say everything, but I think the thing is, we want to clarify that in Santa Maria, California, that was a great proprietor who
Yes.
gave us the week of a lifetime, and the fact of we didn't pay for any food or drinks or you name it. He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. We had a great party, and I'll just leave it as the couple of things: garbage bag, pantyhose, stinky car, and all had a good time. How does that
And
sound?
none of that was me. None of that was me. I was the scorekeeper with the sugar packet,
The
keeping
sugar
track
packets, I
of the
remember
free
that.
drinks. So,
Yes, okay, and then this one, because I wanted to tell a story, and my sister told me this one. She said that you and her were having lunch in Lori Nichols' motorhome, and she had said that she didn't have a partner for the doubles, and you said, "I don't have a partner for the doubles." And that's how you guys got hooked up, and then every year for the doubles, you made the show? Is that true?
sounds about right. You know what? I don't remember ever having another partner besides Kathy. So I don't know, like, oh, I did bowl my first year. I bowled with Kim Kenyon. She was from the Buffalo area, but she was only part time and she didn't bowl full time. So I may have bowled with her, but in my old memory, I don't really recall bowling with anyone else besides Kathy. So she must
Well,
be right.
Kathy said she was in the right place at the right time, because it was she didn't have a partner and you didn't have a partner. And I'm thinking neither one of you had a partner. That's odd. And Lori, and then I'm thinking you're in Lori's motorhome. Who did Lori bowl with?
I know.
So
Oh,
that was actually kind of funny. And it was nice to see all those old pictures. And it seems like a lifetime ago, but I hope you had a great birthday yesterday. And I guess we will continue onward to next week. And we will see you back here talking about the same old thing about league bowling and how we can make that better with Carol Norman. Got anything to add there, Leanne, before we sign off?
no, I had a great birthday yesterday. Thank you. I worked, and then Blair accompanied me to Panera, because we don't have Panera in Utah, and it opened 2 weeks ago. So we celebrated by going to Panera.
Yeah,
Um,
but isn't it far away?
it's like 20 minutes down the road. It's not far.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Um, do you know that I did something today for the first that I've never done before? I bet you'll never guess what it is.
You did something today that you've never done. Oh my gosh. Well,
And I did it while I was at
wait a minute.
work.
Del said what? You slapped Gary. Gary's in
Gary's in Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
She couldn't.
You know what I
Let's
did?
see.
I watched the Beef and Barnsey show.
Oh,
I've never watched them
you-
before. I turned them on. They were
Linda,
on
she watched
Facebook.
the Beef and Barnsey show.
I watched Beef and Barnsey, and I learned a few things, and
There you go.
they're pretty cool. I like those guys.
I like it. Very nice. I've listened to them quite a bit. I always have a great tidbit of information or a good opinion about what's going on in bowling. And I like that. You know, opinions are good. And as long as you take something positive away from it. So, anyway, Dell said, did Stu have an opinion? Because I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
But
he does have a lot of opinions.
No, but it's a great show, and I'm glad you finally got on there. But thank you, everyone. We will be back again next week. Again, talking league bowling. We are going to talk with Carol Norman about the pro shop industry as well as Hall of Fame and what she is now getting ready to do, which I think will be more clinics. And I think she's phasing out maybe to retirement. So it's going to be kind of interesting, but we're going to talk all of bowling again next week. Thanks, everybody.